Well, first it was the pandemic, then the writers' and actors' strike. Now it's streaming that's striking fear into the heart of Hollywood. After the box office highs of Barbie and Oppenheimer last year, 2024 has seen a string of high-cost, high-profile films failing to get punters back to the cinema.
From the programme that brought you cinemas back.
One to Barbie? No, Oppenheimer.
And big Boxing Day at the box office. Comes the death of cinema.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, I think it's rubbish.
It's alive!
It's been in a crisis for at least 20 years.
And this is the year the blockbuster became blockbusted.
In 3, 2, 1, action.
The Fall Guy failed.
People are spending too much money on making movies.
Mad Max overreached.
Furiosa! We've come too far.
And Garfield
The eating you're about to see will not be pretty.
choked at the box office. It has filmmakers like Cannes winner Sean Baker sweating.
Right now, as filmmakers, we have to fight to keep cinema alive. This means making feature films intended for theatrical exhibition.
And theatre operators struggling.
Very tough. The worst I've seen in my 21 years there.
Stephen Goddard manages the only cinema at Emerald in central Queensland. He pinned his hopes on Furiosa, and so did Hollywood, 11,000 kilometres away. Critics loved the Mad Max film, which cost $400 million to make, but it only pulled in $32 million in the US on week one. In Emerald, 200 people bought a ticket. Normally, it'd be 5 times that many. It sums up Stephen's entire year.
Our income is, look, very honestly, it's 50% of what it was.
After a string of disappointments.
When I looked up at the beginning of January, I thought, okay, you know, there's Planet of the Apes, there's Furiosa with Mad Max, there was a number of them. And unfortunately, they've just probably all come up a bit short.
And if something doesn't change, the curtain will close for good, as it has for other regional cinemas.
Rome is shut down, Longreach is closed, Moranbah had closed prior to COVID.
Next 5 years, I think, is going to be extremely challenging for the cinema.
Bruce Isaacs is a professor of film studies at the University of Sydney.
2024 is potentially going to be the worst year for maybe a couple of decades, maybe even more.
Cue the cinematic music.
It's no laughing matter. Globally, the film industry is a $50 billion a year business. But the figures don't lie. 2019, in Hollywood's heartland, the US, the box office made $4.7 billion. COVID hit, but by 2023, cinema had made it back, takings down 22.6%. For the same period this year, the box office has only reached $2.65 billion, down 43%. But
Cinema attendance is about 4 or 5 times the live attendance of the NRL and the AFL combined.
Cameron Mitchell's head of the Cinema Association of Australasia.
Just in Australia, 4 of the highest grossing films of all time have released since COVID.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
Looking at the lineup of films coming this year, we're really confident that it's going to be a strong year.
Last year, the Barbie and Oppenheimer double act had punters flocking back to the cinema. Then, Ridley Scott's Napoleon started the downward spiral. It cost a bomb to make, as much again in marketing. It needed to make $650 million to break even. It managed just $150 million.
Everyone is trying to hit a 6.
CJ Johnson is president of the Film Critics Circle of Australia.
Now, if you only try and hit 6s, you're much more likely to get out.
And there's been a string of outs.
Studios already coming out and saying this has been a major disappointment. we need to investigate why that is.
Streaming has, of course, impacted global box office and will continue to do so. Cinema prices might be too high. At the moment, the average adult ticket price in Australia is $24. If it was $12, maybe more than twice the amount of people would go.
To survive, remember your strength.
Bruce wrote the book and says a cinema shake-up is long overdue.
For every Top Gun Maverick and Barbie, we're seeing a bunch of movies that simply are not being trusted. And you're also seeing studios starting to get risk-averse.
So instead of the death of cinema, maybe what we're seeing is the death of the blockbuster.
Yes, if you put me in charge of a Hollywood studio, the very first thing I would do is stop making blockbusters.
I don't know that the blockbuster has years ahead of it.
And you know the old saying, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. So try to get to the cinema if you can. And if you haven't seen Furiosa yet, it'd be good to support a movie that's made right here.